Hello everyone, this is part 5 video on past year NEET questions from the topic electrochemistry. Now those who are looking at this video can probably take a look at the previous 4 parts also, so that you will have a continuity of questions. We will start with a question that has come in the year 2006. Look at this question. E0 value for Fe2 plus getting reduced to Fe minus 0.441. E0 value for Fe3 plus getting reduced to Fe2 plus 0.771. The standard EMF of the reaction Fe plus 2 Fe3 plus ions gives rise to 3 Fe2 plus. So for this we have to find what is the standard EMF, means we need to find the E0. See, this is a typical model of question where even in some of the previous part videos also we have seen. So the E0 values of a couple of reactions are given, and using that we have to find what is the E0 value of the unknown reaction. So first we have to write down what are the given equations. First is what? Fe2 plus getting reduced to Fe, means what? Fe2 plus 2 electrons, that will give rise to Fe. For this, what is the E0? So let us call it as what? E01. How much it is? Minus 0.441. Okay. Then second is what? This is second one. So second one, Fe3 plus getting reduced to Fe2 plus. So Fe3 plus electron gives rise to Fe2 plus. For this, let us call it as what? E02, and that value is 0.771. So first one is negative E0 value, second one is positive. Now we have the unknown reaction. What is it? Fe plus 2 times of Fe3 plus gives rise to 3 times of Fe2 plus. For this we have to find what is the E0 value. Now there is no direct way in which we can relate the E0 values of the reactions. The only thing we can do is we can relate the del G0 values. So if you have a set of reactions, when we add up all the reactions, let us say we get a cumulative reaction. The del G of the cumulative reaction will be equal to sum of the del G values of the individual reactions. So here if we are adding two equations to get the third equation, the del G of the third equation will be equal to del G of the first equation plus del G of the second equation. So this same relation will be there for the delta H also. If you have two reactions, we add them up to get the third reaction. Then del H of the third reaction will be equal to delta H1 plus delta H2. That is what we call as the Hess law in thermodynamics. Okay. So here if you just look at it, right, so this is our first equation, this is second equation. So for the first equation, if you look at the way we have to arrange the first and second equation, how do we arrange them so that we will get the third equation? So third equation is our unknown. So how we have to arrange them? If you take a careful look at it, right, in the final equation we have Fe in the left side. Fe is coming only in one equation, first equation, but that is on the right side, means the first equation has to be reversed. So if we reverse the first equation, so then what is going to happen? The equation is going to be Fe gives rise to Fe2 plus 2 electrons. For this the E0 value will be equal to how much? It will be equal to, so if you reverse the equation, means the E0 value will be what? Negative of the original, means it will be 0.441. Then if you look at the third equation, our final equation, we have 2 Fe3 plus. So here we have only one Fe3 plus, means we have to multiply this by 2. But here, as we said, we will not be able to relate the E0 values of the equations. We have to relate the del G values. So for this, right, for this equation which you are writing it, Fe gives rise to Fe2 plus 2 electrons. What will be the del G value? Del G value will be equal to how much? Del G will be minus n is the number of electrons, into F, Faraday's constant, into E0, 0.441. Okay. So this is the del G value for this reaction. Let us keep it. Now before we modify this equation, right, so what are we saying? We have to multiply this equation by 2 before we even modify. First let us get the del G value of the original equation. Let us not multiply by 2, let us get the del G of the original equation. So what will be the del G of the original equation? Del G of the original equation, the second original equation, right, will be equal to what? minus n is what here, number of electrons is 1. So 1 into F into E naught. What is E naught? 0.771. Okay. So this is the del G of the original second equation. Now we have to multiply the second equation by factor 2. So if you multiply the second equation by factor 2, what is it going to become? It will be becoming what? 2Fe3 plus 2 electrons gives rise to 2Fe2 plus. So if you multiply equation by a factor 2, the del G of that equation is also going to be multiplied by the same factor 2. Means it will be also becoming equal to what? 2 times of this one, minus F into 0.771. So if you multiply equation by a factor 2, means the free energy change also will be have to be multiplied by 2. If you multiply equation by a factor 2, means the delta H value of the reaction also will be multiplied by the same factor, like that. Okay, so the change that we perform to an reaction or equation will also result in the same change in terms of the delta H value or the delta G value of the reaction. So now if we look at it, right, so this is we can say our 1 dash modified first equation. This is our 2 dash modified second equation. Now when we add both of them, so we can see 2 electrons is cancelled. What we are going to get, we can see carefully here, we are going to get what? Fe plus 2Fe3 plus gives rise to 3Fe2 plus. Why 3Fe2 plus? Here 2Fe2 plus and 1Fe2 plus. Now the del G of the overall will be equal to what? This del G plus this del G, means we can see minus 2 into F is common, minus 2 into F into 0.441 plus 0.771, which is like what? 1.212. Okay. Now for this we have to find not del G, we have to find the standard E naught value, right? So for this, if you are looking at this equation, right, so this equation, what is the number of electrons exchanged? Here the number of electrons exchanged is 2. So if you look at this reaction as what? One, the oxidation part, and second is the reduction part. So here oxidation part, how many electrons are released? 2 electrons. Reduction part, how many electrons are taken? 2 electrons. So the number of electrons exchanged here is 2. Means del G we have to write it as what? Minus n into F into E naught, right? This is equal to minus 2 into F into 1.212. So minus 2F is cancelled, which means what? E naught will be equal to 1.212 volt. So this is a very standard type of question. So whenever a set of equations are given, their E naught values are given, and they are asking us to find E naught of an unknown equation, right? We cannot directly relate the E naught values. We can only relate the delta G values. That too, what is the principle of relating delta G values? If you have a set of equations, by adding them we will get overall equation. The overall equation delta G will be equal to sum of the delta G values of the individual equations. Like in this case, this is the overall. So 1 dash and 2 dash are modified. Okay, so 1 dash and 2 dash when we add, we will get the overall equation. Means the del G value of the 1 dash equation plus the del G value of the 2 dash equation will be equal to what? The del G of the final overall equation. And then we are saying del G is equal to minus n into F into E naught. Okay, so this is how we are going to proceed. Next we have a question that has come in the year 2005. 4.5 grams of aluminum, atomic mass is 27, is deposited at the cathode from Al3 plus solution. Means here the aluminum, right? So what is the valency factor? 3, because the charge on the aluminum ion is 3. Okay, by a certain quantity of electric charge, means we are performing electrolysis of aluminum ions. And what is the mass that is deposited? The weight of the aluminum deposit is what? 4.5 grams. Okay, the volume of hydrogen produced at STP from H plus ions in solution by the same quantity of electric charge. So this is a question based upon the Faraday's laws of electrolysis. So what do we know in Faraday's laws of electrolysis? By passing same current, the weight of any substance that is produced at the electrode will be directly proportional to equivalent weight of the substance. Means if you have, say for example, 2 substances, then W1 by W2 will be equal to, W1 by E1 will be equal to W2 by E2. If you have third substance, means W3 by E3. So what are W1, W2, W3? These are the weights of the substances. E1, E2, E3 are what? The equivalent weights of the substances. Okay. Now here the thing is, 1 for aluminum, the atomic mass is 23. What is the valency factor? Valency factor is 3, charge on ion. So the equivalent weight of aluminum will be what? 27 by 3, which is equal to 9 grams. Okay, so equivalent weight of aluminum will be 9 grams. So atomic mass is 27 AMU means what is the gram atomic mass? 27 grams. So the equivalent weight of aluminum is what? 9 grams. Means here if you look at the ratio, right, weight by equivalent weight of the substance, which is what? 4.5 grams by 9 grams, which is equal to 1 by 2. This is the ratio of weight by equivalent weight. On the other side, we are talking in terms of the volume of the gas released at STP. So here if you are comparing one side mass and other side the volume, then we can also write it as the volume of the gas that is released divided by, in place of equivalent weight, we will have equivalent volume. So in case of the substances which we are measuring in terms of mass, what will be the ratio taken? It is taken in terms of weight by equivalent weight. For the gases, we will take the ratio in terms of volume of the gas by equivalent volume of the gas. Now what do you mean by equivalent volume of the gas? So we know for any gas, right, whether it is H2 or any gas for that matter, what is the molar volume at STP conditions? Means volume occupied by 1 mole, that is standard 22.4 liters. Okay, for H2, so if you look at H2, right, the hydrogens are coming from H plus ions. Means if you look at the solution, each of these hydrogens will be existing as what? 2 H plus ions. Means they are exchanging 2 units of charge to become H2. Means the equivalent volume. So like the way we will talk in terms of the equivalent weight. What is the equivalent weight? The molecular weight divided by the valency factor. For atoms means it will be the atomic weight divided by valency factor. Okay, so in case of aluminum, atomic weight is what? 27, and what is the valency factor? 3. Here in case of gases, equivalent volume, we'll have similar formula, will be what? The molar volume, which is 22.4 liters, divided by what is the valency factor here? 2 H plus ions are exchanging 2 units of charge, right? So valency factor is 2. So the equivalent volume will be how much? It will be 11.2 liters. So W by E will be equal to what? For the aluminum, which is half, already we got it, will be equal to the volume of H2 that we are getting divided by equivalent volume. What is equivalent volume? 11.2 liters, which means we can see when you cross multiply, right, what will be the volume of H2? The 11.2 will come to the LHS. So 11.2 by 2, which will be equal to how much? 5.6. So what will be the volume of the hydrogen gas that is produced at the other electrode? It will be what? 5.6 liters. So this is a straight question based on the Faraday's law. Sometimes we'll just get questions by relating the weights alone. They will ask in one container we have aluminum, other container we have sodium, what is the mass of sodium deposited, or they will say in another container there is copper, what is the mass of copper deposited, like that. Sometimes we can also have questions. In fact, this model of question, right, has already come in a couple of other papers also. The only thing is in case of mass measurement, we will say weight by equivalent weight. In case of volume measurement, we will say volume by equivalent volume. What is equivalent volume concept? Just like the way we calculate equivalent weight. What is equivalent weight? Molecular weight by valency factor for the molecules. Atomic species means atomic weight by valency factor. If we talk about equivalent volume, it will be molar volume, since we generally, all these problems will be generally given at STP conditions. Molar volume means what? 22.4 liters. Molar volume divided by valency factor. Next we have a question that has come in the year 2005. The mass of carbon anode consumed giving only carbon dioxide. So carbon anode is getting consumed, producing only carbon dioxide in the production of 270 kg of aluminum metal from bauxite by the Hall's process. So if you recall, right, in metallurgical process we will study about it. So the anode we will be using carbon. The reason is at anode during the electrolytic reduction of bauxite, we will be having oxygen being produced at the anode. So the oxygen, since aluminum metal which is going to be formed at the cathode, aluminum has very high affinity for oxygen. So we make the carbon anode as sacrificial substance, because whatever the oxygen that is formed, the oxygen will readily combine with the carbon anode and thereby it forms carbon dioxide. So we prevent the oxygen from going and attacking the freshly prepared aluminum. So that's what happens in this process. Now the question is the mass of carbon anode that is going to be consumed in the process where we are getting 270 kg of aluminum metal. So for this, right, what we can do is we can just take a look at what is the reaction that happens. The balanced equation, right, 3 carbon atoms plus 2 moles of alumina will give 4 aluminum atoms and 3 moles of CO2. This is the balanced equation. We can see carbon atoms are balanced, aluminum atoms are balanced, and oxygen is also of course balanced. Now when you look at this equation, right, what do we see? If we have to produce 4 moles of aluminum, because the factor here is what, 4 moles of aluminum, we will be requiring 3 moles of carbon. So 4 moles of aluminum will require what, 3 moles of carbon. Means if you want to produce 1 mole of aluminum, means we will require, we have divided both sides by 4, right? We will be requiring 3 by 4 moles of carbon. 4 moles of aluminum requires 3 moles of carbon. 1 mole of aluminum requires what, 3 by 4 moles of carbon. Now if you look at this, what is the amount of aluminum that is produced? 270 grams. What is the atomic weight of aluminum? See, the atomic weight of aluminum is what, 27 grams. Okay, and what is the amount of aluminum produced? 270 kg. Means this is like what, 270 kg means 270 into 10 power 3 grams if you convert this into grams. So the number of moles of aluminum, right, how do you find number of moles? Weight, okay, divided by the atomic weight. So if you check this, right, it will be coming as what, 10 to the power of 4 moles. So the number of moles of aluminum is what, 10 power 4. All we are doing is, weight by the atomic weight. See, for 1 mole of aluminum we will require 3 by 4 moles of carbon, right? Here how many moles of aluminum we are having as per the given amount? 10 power 4 moles. So for 10 power 4 moles of aluminum we will be requiring what? Simply we have to multiply that also by 10 power 4, right? 1 mole requires 3 by 4. This is more of a basic concepts of chemistry kind of question. Okay, so 10 power 4 moles of aluminum requires how much? It will be requiring 3 by 4 into 10 power 4 moles of carbon. And we know what is the carbon atomic mass? 12 grams, right? So if you are looking at what is the amount of carbon, right? So what will be the amount of carbon? So 3 by 4 in 10 power 4 moles means each mole 12 grams, right? So we have to multiply by 12 grams, number of moles into atomic weight. So if we check this, 4 ones are 4 threes. Totally what is it? 9 into 10 power 4 grams. Okay, so which is going to be what? 90 kgs. 9 in 10 power 4 means we can write it as what? 90 into 10 power 3 grams. So in terms of kilogram, because all the options are given in what? Kilograms. So 90 kg is going to be the answer. So if we have the reduction equation, then we will be able to easily answer this. Next we have a question that has come in the year 2004. The standard EMF of a galvanic cell involving a cell reaction with N is equal to 2. So what is the number of electrons exchanged here given as 2 is found to be 0.295, means the E naught value. What is the E naught value found to be? 0.295. So using this we have to find what is the equilibrium constant of the reaction. See, at the standard conditions of 25 degrees centigrade, the E naught value is given. Number of electrons of the cell equation is also given. We have to find what? The equilibrium constant. And of course they have given us the value of the Faraday constant F and also the value of the gas constant R. But the thing is, if we are talking in terms of the 25 degrees temperature condition, what is the Nernst equation? E cell is equal to E naught minus 0.051591 by N into log Q. Q is the reaction quotient. Okay, so if we are reaching equilibrium, means what is going to happen? The E value, cell EMF value will be becoming equal to what? 0. At equilibrium the E value will be equal to what? 0. And the Q will become equal to what? Equilibrium constant K. So substitute it, E will be 0. So 0 is equal to E naught minus 0.0591 by N into log K. Q will become equal to K. So in this, right, so if you just bring it to this side, what we are going to have, minus E naught. So what we will be having here, minus E naught is equal to minus 0.0591 by N. What is N? Number of electrons exchanged into log K. Okay. What is the, minus and minus will be cancelled, by the way. What is the E naught value given as 0.295? So 0.295 is equal to this side. What is if you bring the 2 this side, right, it will be what? 2 will come to the numerator. Divide by the 0.0591 will come to the denominator, 0.0591. That will be equal to our log K. So 2 into 0.295 will be 0.591. So if you look at it, it will be what? 0.591 by 0.0591 will be equal to log K. So means what? This is 10, right? So log K is equal to 10. So log K is equal to 10 means what? K will be 10 to the power of 10. So what is the value of equilibrium constant K? It will be 10 power 10 or 1 into 10 power 10. So here, we are not even using the value of Faraday constant and R, because we are straight away remembering this formula. Otherwise, normally the general formula for the Nernst equation is what? E is equal to E naught minus 2.303 RT by NF into log Q. This is general formula. So this we can use at any temperature. If you are saying the temperature is 25 degrees centigrade or 298 Kelvin, by putting the value of R and F, simplifying it, right, we will get this formula. E is equal to E naught minus 0.0591 by N into log Q. So these formula and all we have to be keeping on top of our mind, then only we will be able to easily answer these questions. So if you are fumbling in terms of this formula means, then either we'll spend a lot of time in the examination, or we might even get the answers wrong. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. This is the question that has come in the year 2003. On the basis of the information available from the reaction, what is the reaction given to us? 4/3 aluminum plus O2 gives rise to 2/3 Al2O3. This is the oxidation, aluminum getting oxidized. What is the del G value for this? Del G is given as minus 827 kilojoule per mole. The minimum EMF required to carry out an electrolysis of Al2O3. See, electrolysis of Al2O3 means what? Exactly the reverse reaction is going to happen. So in electrolysis of Al2O3, what is going to occur? The Al2O3 is going to get reduced and we are going to get aluminum. Means the reaction that we will see there will be 2/3 Al2O3 gives rise to 4/3 Al plus O2. For this reaction, right, what will be the del G value? If you reverse it means the del G will also become what? Minus of the original value. See, already minus 827, right? Minus of minus means plus 827 kilojoule per mole. This is the del G value for the electrolysis. Electrolysis means reduction. Aluminum oxide is going to get reduced during the electrolysis. Okay. Now they are asking what is the minimum EMF required to carry out the electrolysis. See, if you look at this equation, right, del G is there. We can find what is the E value. So how do you find the E value? We know that for any equation, right, del G will be equal to what? Minus N into F into E. And here the value of del G is what? 827 kilojoule per mole. Means 827 into 10 power 3 joule per mole. Okay, that is equal to minus N. See, for this cell equation, right, if you observe it, we can calculate the number of electrons exchanged either by tracking aluminum or by tracking oxygen. If you see, there are two oxygen atoms involved. In the reactant side, both oxygen atoms are in the form of oxide ions, means O2 minus, two oxygen atoms. In the final, they are becoming O2 molecule. In O2 molecule, each oxygen atom, what is the oxidation state? 0. Means each oxygen from -2 it is becoming 0. Means overall, right, if you look at just the oxygen, two oxide ions, they will become oxygen atoms by losing 4 electrons. Okay, so means the number of electrons is exchanged is what? 4 into F. What is the F value? 96,500 coulomb per mole. So per mole will be cancelled, into E will come. Okay, so here what is the value of E? If you bring these to the LHS, it will be what? 827 into 10 power 3 joule divided by 4 into minus will be there, of course, 96,500 coulomb. Joule per coulomb is what? Volt. Okay, so if you just try to simplify it, it will be coming close to 2.14. So for this reduction of Al2O3, what is the E value? Minus 2.14. Now this indicates what? This is a non-spontaneous, because whenever an equation E is positive, right, that will be spontaneous. Whenever E is positive, delta G will be negative. Here we can see for the reduction of Al2O3, delta G is positive, so E will be negative, means this is a non-spontaneous. If you want to make this reaction to happen, how much minimum voltage we must apply? We must apply an voltage which is at least more than, we should apply a voltage in the opposite direction, but more than the 2.14. So the E applied voltage, right, because we have to reverse this reaction, the applied voltage should be more than or equal to 2.14 volt. Then only this reaction can be reversed. Okay, so the correct answer for this is what? 2.14 volt. The fact that the E value for the reduction of volume Al2O3 is coming negative indicates what? It is a non-spontaneous. It will not happen on its own. Means when you passing current, the minimum voltage you must apply to make this reaction happen is what? Minimum 2.14 we must apply. Next we'll go to a theoretical question. In the electrolysis of NaCl, when platinum electrode is taken, H2 is liberated at the cathode, while with mercury cathode, see, if you take the platinum cathode, means the hydrogen gas is liberated. If you take the mercury cathode, it forms sodium amalgam. So if you take a mercury cathode, means what is it forming? It is forming sodium amalgam. So we need to find what is the reason for this. So what is the reason why platinum, we'll call these as what? Inert electrodes. So platinum is called as what? Inert electrode. So with platinum, what are we getting? We are basically getting the hydrogen gas liberated at the cathode. So if you look at the general electrolysis procedure, right? So when we take the aqueous solution of NaCl or the brine solution, so we'll have the cathode. So let's just focus on cathode part. Okay, so at the cathode, what we are going to have? So cations will approach the cathode, right? We'll be having both Na plus ions approaching as well as H plus. But the H plus cathode, what must happen? Reduction must happen, right? The reduction potential of H plus will be higher. In fact, for the standard hydrogen electrode, what is it? The reduction potential is 0. I mean, for the Na plus, the reduction potential will be negative. It will be below actually. For all alkali metals, it will be negative only. So we will see that it will be negative below. Means H plus will get reduced. That's why we will get H2 gas. That's the something which is clear to us. That is the reason why when we do the electrolysis of brine solution, right? So we will see that at the cathode, H plus will be discharged. At the anode, Cl minus will be discharged. In the solution, we will be left with Na plus and OH minus. Thereby, we will form sodium hydroxide. That is the method to prepare the sodium hydroxide. Okay, but here the thing is what? If you change the setup, instead of platinum electrode, we use mercury. What is going to happen? So what happens is, if you use mercury, right, the Na plus ions that are approaching the cathode. So cathode is what? Mercury, and cathode there will be availability of the electrons. So these Na plus ions, they can take these electrons and mix into mercury. So thereby they will be able to form the mercury amalgam. Now the reason why this would happen is mainly attributed because of the solubility of the sodium in mercury. So normally if you look at the general discharging of H plus and discharging of Na plus, between these two there is always a preference for the discharging of H plus. But when there is a mercury, since we look at the overall reaction is not just about forming sodium metal. The overall energetics, right, of the reaction is not just about forming sodium metal, but after the sodium metal is formed, that will mix into, or that will dissolve into the mercury to form the amalgam. So where the entropy of the metal formed will also increase. So the sodium metal that is getting produced, right, will dissolve in the liquid mercury, and that makes this overall process to happen. And that is going to happen not with inert electrode like platinum, it will be happening only with reactive electrodes. That's why these set of electrodes we call them as what? Reactive electrodes. Okay, so the correct answer for this is what? Sodium will be dissolving in mercury while it does not dissolve in the platinum. So platinum is a non-reactive electrode, inert electrode, whereas the mercury is a reactive electrode. And now because the formed sodium will be able to dissolve in mercury, thereby increasing the entropy of the overall process, this makes this process feasible. Okay, so the correct answer for this is what? Option C. Sodium is dissolved in mercury while it does not dissolve in the platinum. Next we have sort of a straight question. This has come in 2001. The standard electrode potentials of Fe2 plus getting reduced to Fe. What is it? Minus 0.44. Fe3 plus getting reduced to Fe2 plus 0.77. Fe2 plus, Fe3 plus and Fe blocks are kept together. Then what happens? So if you look at it, right, straight away when we think about it, so the feasibility of Fe2 plus to get reduced is given by the electrode potential. What is it? Minus 0.44. So Fe2 plus getting reduced to become Fe. What is the E0 value for this? Minus 0.44. And Fe3 plus getting reduced to Fe2 plus. Fe3 plus getting reduced to Fe2 plus. So the feasibility of this is given by the respective E0 value. What is it? 0.77. So we know when we look at the electrode potential series, right, always whenever the reduction potential is there, that is going to be more feasible. Means between Fe3 plus and Fe2 plus, right, for which the chance of getting reduced is more, Fe3 plus the chance of getting reduced is there because it will have preference. So that's what we call as the preferential discharge, right? So the Fe3 plus ions, they are going to get reduced, means thereby they will be forming what? They will be forming Fe2 plus. Clear? And the Fe2 plus is not going to get reduced. So what we will see is Fe3 plus concentration is going to be decreasing. So Fe3 plus concentration will not increase. Fe2 plus concentration, it will be actually increasing. Why? Because you are forming more Fe2 plus. And option C is saying that Fe2 plus and Fe3 plus remains unchanged. This is also not correct. Why? Because we will see that Fe3 plus is going to be getting reduced. Thereby it forms Fe2 plus. So what is the correct answer? It will be option B, where the Fe3 plus amount is going to get reduced. Next we have the question that has come in the year 2000. And in fact, when we look at the previous question, right, just to conclude this, if the Fe3 plus is getting reduced, then here let's call it as 1 and 2. Second, what will happen? Oxidation will happen. Means the reverse process is going to occur. Means Fe is going to get oxidized to become what? Fe2 plus. So this is the reduction. This is the reduction, right? So obviously, whenever there is a reduction, there will be an oxidation along with it, right? So what will be the oxidation? Second part will be undergoing oxidation. Means the Fe is going to get oxidized to form Fe2 plus. So overall, Fe2 plus concentration is going to increase. Both Fe3 plus concentration will decrease. Fe concentration also is going to decrease. But in the options, they have not given us the Fe concentration judgment. Okay. Next, look at the question that has come in the year 2000. The equivalent conductances of barium 2 plus and chloride ions are 127 and 76 ohm inverse, centimeter inverse per equivalent. These are what? Equivalent conductivities. The equivalent conductance of BaCl2 at infinite dilution is. Now this is a thing where most of the students will have a confusion. So how do we relate the equivalent conductivities? See, for example, if you have simple BaCl2, normally whenever we look at the Kohlrausch law, right, we will keep talking in terms of the molar conductivities. So if you just look at it, the limiting value of molar conductivity of BaCl2 will be equal to what? The molar conductivity of Ba2 plus ions plus 2 times the molar conductivity of Cl minus. Why? Because BaCl2 is going to give us 1 mole of Ba2 plus and 2 moles of Cl minus ions. This is the formula in terms of the molar conductivities. But in terms of the limiting equivalent conductivities, right, So equivalent conductivity will mean what? It will be basically that much amount of substance which can exchange 1 mole of electrons. Means the cation part also will be the amount that can exchange 1 mole of electrons. Anion part also will be the amount that can exchange 1 mole of electrons. So the equivalent conductivity of BaCl2 will be the equivalent conductivity of Ba2 plus ions plus the equivalent conductivity of Cl minus ions. So for any type of ion we take, so electrolyte we take, so whenever we have the equivalent conductivity formula, right, what will be the relation? Equivalent conductivity of an electrolyte will be equal to what? The respective equivalent conductivities of the cations plus the equivalent conductivities of the anions. Now if you look at how we are going to get the overall correlation between the two. So on one side we have the equivalent conductivity, other side we have the molar conductivity. So we can see how these two will be correlated. How these two will be correlated is, look at this one. For the BaCl2, right, what is the valency factor? 2, because charge on cation is 2, charge on anion is also 2. Total positive charge is 2, total negative charge is 2. Means the molar conductivity will be 2 times of the equivalent conductivity. Okay, so I'll show you how these two will be related. For the Ba2 plus, what is the charge on the cation? 2 units. Means the molar conductivity will be 2 times the equivalent conductivity because the charge is 2. But for the Cl minus, charge is 1. So molar conductivity will be same as equivalent conductivity. But already we have a 2 factor here. Okay, so now we can see both the 2's will be cancelled. So what are we getting finally? This is the expression. For any electrolyte, right, the equivalent conductivity will be equal to what? Sum of the equivalent conductivity of the respective ions, which means what? For the Ba2 plus, what is it? 127. For the Cl minus, what is it? 76. If you add them, it is going to give us what? 203 ohm inverse centimeter inverse per equivalent. So we have to understand the relation between the equivalent conductivities of the respective ions and the equivalent conductivity of the electrolyte at infinite dilution. It's a very simple thing. We just have to add the equivalent conductivities of the respective ions, and that is going to give us what? The equivalent conductivity of the electrolyte. Here there will be no multiplication factor or anything, because here we are taking what? The conductivity from the amount of cations that can exchange 1 mole of electrons plus the conductivity from the amount of anions that can exchange 1 mole of electrons. That is going to be the equivalent conductivity of the electrolyte. So the multiplication by the respective factors will come only in the limiting molar conductivity formula. Like in this case we can see the limiting molar conductivity of BaCl will be equal to what? The molar conductivity of Ba2 plus ions, because 1 Ba2 plus ion will come, and 2 times the molar conductivity of the Cl minus. This will come only in the case of the molar conductivity formula. Clear? So the correct answer for this is option C. Next we have a question that has come in the year 2000. This is another question based on the E0 relation between the equations. For the disproportionation of copper, disproportionation of copper means what? Here we can see 2 copper plus ions are going to become what? One, it is going to become copper 2 plus, other it is going to become copper. E0 value is, means we have to find what is the E0 value. What is given to us? E0 value of copper 2 plus getting reduced to copper 0.34. E0 value of copper 2 plus getting reduced to copper plus, that is 0.15. So we have to use this and find out what is the E0 value for the disproportionation reaction. So like we already said, we will not be able to directly relate the E0 values of the reactions. We can only relate the del G values of the reactions. But first let us write down what is the equation for which we have to find the E0 value. So what is the equation for which we have to find the E0 value? This is the one. Okay, what is it? 2 copper plus is going to give us what? Copper 2 plus and copper disproportionation. Okay, for this we have to find what is the E0 value. And what is given to us? What is given to us is these two, copper 2 plus getting reduced to copper. Okay, so for this let us call it as what? E1 naught. What is it? 0.34. Second, copper 2 plus getting reduced to copper plus, it is E2 naught, 0.15. Now we have to see how we will be able to make a combination of them so that we can get the overall equation. So if you think about it, right, the second equation has to be reversed. The second equation has to be reversed and then multiplied by 2. The second reaction has to be reversed and multiplied by 2. Then we have to add it to the equation 1. So I'll tell you how do we do it, but before that, right, since we said we cannot relate the E naught values, we can only relate what del G values. So for the first equation, let us just write down what is the del G. So what will be the del G value? So del G naught 1, let us call it, is equal to what? Minus number of electrons exchanged is 2 into F into what is the E naught? 0.34. Let us keep it that way. Now for the second, right, del G naught 2. Here what is the number of electrons exchanged? 1 minus 1 into F into 0.15. Now as I said, the second equation has to be reversed. If you reverse second equation, what you are going to have? Copper plus going to give us copper 2 plus electron. So del G, if you reverse means del G is going to become what? Minus of the original. Already original is what? Minus 1 into F into 0.15, right? So minus of minus means what? Plus 1 into F into 0.15. We have reversed it. Then we have to multiply this by 2. If you multiply this by 2 means what you are going to get? 2 copper plus going to give us 2 copper 2 plus 2 electrons. So del G naught also has to be multiplied by the same factor, right? Means it will be what? Multiplied by 2 means it will become 2 into F into 0.15. Okay, so the first equation and modified second equation, let us call it as 2 dash. So if you add both of them, right, so I'll just write it down here so that it will be very clear. So what is the first equation? Copper 2 plus 2 electrons gives rise to copper. This is the first equation. Okay, so what is the del G value? Del G value is what for the first equation? Minus 2 into F into 0.34. Modified second equation is what? 2 copper plus gives rise to 2 copper 2 plus 2 electrons. Okay, what is the del G value for this? It will be plus 2 into F into 0.15. Now if we just take a look at these two, right, so what do we understand from here? The addition, right, 2 electrons will be cancelled, 1 copper 2 plus is cancelled. So what we are going to get is 2 copper plus going to give us 1 copper 2 plus and 1 copper. That's the overall. So means the del G for the overall reaction, right, for this reaction del G naught. So del G for the overall reaction will be what? This plus this. Means if you take out 2F common out, that will be what? Minus 0.34 plus 0.15. That will be 0.19 minus 0.34 plus 0.15 is what? Minus 0.19. Okay, so this is the del G naught. And what is the relation? Del G naught will be equal to minus N. Okay, so N into F into E naught. Okay, so if you look at this, right, what is this N value for the overall reaction? If you look at the overall reaction, right, so the reduction part, if you see, or the oxidation part, separate. Reduction part involves 1 electron. How? If you think about it, the reduction part will be what? Copper plus, okay, so gaining electron to form copper. What is the oxidation part? Copper plus losing electron to become copper 2 plus. So the number of electrons exchanged is 1. So minus 1 into minus N into F into E naught. That will be equal to what? 2 into F into minus 0.19. So minus is cancelled, F is also cancelled. So E naught value will be equal to what? 2 into 0.19, which is 0.38 volt. So what is the correct answer for this? It is option C. So we have to check how we are getting the E naught value relation. In fact, in the entire electrochemistry, right, this model of question where we are relating the E naught values of the different equations, this is going to be the tricky one. Why? Because we cannot directly relate the E naught values. First we have to find what is the del G naught values, then obviously most of the questions we have to rearrange. Rearrange the equations means del G also will be changed because of the rearrangement. If you reverse the reaction means del G will become minus of the original del G. If you multiply equation by a factor means del G also has to be multiplied by the same factor. Then after this, when we add the equations means we will get the del G of the overall equation. From that del G value we can only find the E naught value. So we can never relate the E naught values of the reactions directly. So the correct answer for this is option C. Next we have a question that has come in the year 1999. The specific conductance of a 0.1 normal KCl solution at 23 degrees centigrade is 0.012 ohm inverse centimeter inverse. This is what the specific conductance. So what is specific conductance? We will represent this by the symbol kappa. Correct. The resistance of the cell containing the solution at the same temperature was found to be 55 ohms. This is the R value. The cell constant will be. So this is the typical basic question on the electrolytic cell. So if you look at electrolytic cell, right, so if you look at the two electrode plates, the movement of ions can be seen as the passage of charge, which is the current. So we can measure the resistance. R is equal to what? Rho into L by A. Rho is the resistivity. We can also write it as what? 1 by kappa. This L by A is basically what you call as the cell constant G, because in most of the textbooks they will use the symbol G for this. G is what? Cell constant. Okay. So R is equal to 1 by kappa into G. We are looking for the G, right? The cell constant. Means we have to take this kappa to the other side. Means R into kappa will be equal to the cell constant G. So R is given as how much? 55 ohm into kappa is how much? 0.012 ohm inverse centimeter inverse. So we can see the G value, right? It will be what? L by A. It will be in terms of the length inverse. So ohm and ohm inverse is cancelled. So what is it? 55 into 0.012. That will be what? That will be 0.66. So what is the correct answer for this is option B. It's a very straight formula kind of question based on the electrolytic cells. So this is about the part 5 video, and we'll see in the next part.